There, this is the youth video for Sunday school for this Sunday, March 24th. The youth will meet in the Orange Room at 10 o'clock in the morning. The lesson they're reading is Jesus in the Temple. This will be sent to you as well in the email. That's Luke 19 verses 45 through 48. And so this is a story of Jesus is in the temple in Jerusalem, merchants that are selling animals and exchanging money, and Jesus drives people out who are selling things in the temple court, right? So he's saying, my house is a house of prayer, and you've made it into a den of robbers. It's that where that quote comes from. The idea here is that, a house of worship, our church being an example, is for certain activities, and in Jesus's experience, it was the merchants could often be cheating people and not being honest, and so he didn't want any of that happening in the house of God. So one of the activities, well, first I would have the kids, there are red Bibles on the shelf in that room. I usually sit down with them and read through the story with them, have them take turns reading, and if it's long enough, or else one of them can do it, and talk about it. There are some questions on page 27 under Wonder and Reflect for this story particularly that I think would be good for the kids. It says, what tone of voice do you think Jesus used as he drove out those selling things in the temple? What things do you think might go on in our church that Jesus would want to stop? Now, this is an interesting thought process for our kids, especially our youth, and getting them to talk about what they see happen that might be viewed as unwelcoming and or welcoming, I think are great ideas. The elementary class will be doing a similar activity. So it's good to get, I think, feedback from that age group about what their ideas are and what they see, because they might see things differently than the adults do. What do you think Jesus sees that he hopes for finding in our church? What might Jesus have been teaching in the temple that left people spellbound? So these are great things for the youth to consider. And then under Peace Notes, which is a section on that same page 27, they have a statement that says, to bring peace, Jesus once again had to disturb what seemed to be peaceful. So even though there was no violence going on, he felt that there was something wrong with that. And so to bring about change, he had to kind of disrupt things, which is how it happens usually, right? The activity is, they say, have youth name some things going on in their lives, their friends' lives, their schools, their communities, that some would say that's just the way it is, but it's not right. I'll put some index cards and pencils in there for the students. They don't have to say it out loud if it's something they don't want to, but they can write it on a piece of paper. What do they name? At least one thing they see happen in their lives, anywhere in their lives, that just is the way it is, but they know in their heart isn't the right thing. It'd be interesting to see if they're willing to share those answers. That's great. If not, they don't have to. And then they have this an activity, and I've printed out several of these pages. There should be enough for each kid, that says, what sort of house is this? And the idea is to take these and live physically over to the sanctuary. It shouldn't be in use during that time, so I think it'll be okay. And look through the order of worship, walk through the space, and walk on the outside space where the church meets, and then answer these questions about what they see. Would a person whose first language is in English feel able to participate? Would a person who has difficulty hearing be able to participate? Would a person who cannot read feel like they could participate? And those are the questions about reading through the bulletin. Walking in the sanctuary, the questions are, what things are part of the space that help you focus on God? What things are part of the space that might distract you from that focus? And then, and there's more. I'm not reading all of them. I'm just giving you an example. In the outside space, the questions are, would someone in a wheelchair know where to come to get in? Would someone who doesn't drive or own a car have a way to get to your church? So these are interesting things to consider for our kids, because it may or may not apply to them personally, but it helps them think outside and think about how accessible and welcoming we are, and then maybe give some ideas of how we can change. So each kid would have one of those sheets with a pencil, and they can write yes or no and jot down their own ideas. If they're willing, I'd love to collect these afterwards and kind of look through them, because they'll probably have some neat ideas actually. So that activity, combined with the index cards and reading the story, are the plan for the 40 minutes of youth. If there's something else in that Sunday school lesson that you want to do with them, that's fine too. But the materials for those things will be set up in the Orange Classroom. So thank you very much.